And we are recording. Welcome, everyone. This is your host, Abraham El Jaguar. First of all, this channel is proudly sponsored by the Red Room Publishing. Please check out their store for exclusive tabletop RPG products. They have recently released New Flesh, a future noir tabletop RPG where cyberpunk meets biological horror. You will find the link in the description and in the pinned comment. This channel is also proudly sponsored by Dead Tree Studios, the publishers and developers of Dames of Asstoria, a tabletop RPG where you play as monster girls, experiencing high adventure in a world that doesn't fully accept them. They have recently released the Whispers of Copperich adventure module. You will find the links in the description and in the pinned comment too. This channel is proudly partnered with the What the Funk shop. Please check out their store for all sorts of products. They have dice, miniatures, game master screens, home decorations, and many other things. You will find the link in the description and in the pinned comment as well. And make sure that you use my code for a special discount. Tonight, I want to talk about something that both tabletop RPGs and video games as hobbies, something that they share, the consideration about the value of your time. What do I mean about this? In current days, in current times, there are just so many amazing video games and tabletop RPGs. So many of them. A few decades back, there were only a few good games. It was the start, the beginning of these wonderful hobbies. So you could easily spot those games that perhaps were not to your liking. Maybe some of them were actually good, but they were not what you were looking for, what you were expecting. And so every single tabletop RPG and video game is truly an investment. Even if you are not streaming this in order to make a profit, it's still your valuable time. You are spending your valuable time playing tabletop RPGs and video games. So you really need to make sure that you're going to get into a satisfying experience. I think that's why it's so important to always have lots of reviews, written reviews in video format, and of course, live streams. Many of the games that I have purchased throughout the years, I've seen streamers playing those games. And now I can also participate as a streamer, giving people some examples of the gameplay of those games. And some people could consider, well, it's always about getting the fastest experience, right? You get to play lots of games. You could play many video games that you can beat in a few days, perhaps even a few hours. Or in the case of tabletop RPGs, you could have tabletop RPGs with speedy combat and social mechanics when it comes to resolution that do not require too many rolls or the use of cards, etc. But it's also about what you enjoy. That's about the value of your time, spending that time, your time, in the most enjoyable way possible. A few days ago, I don't remember the name of the channel. I remember watching a video where the guy was lamenting, um, disappointed on how he wasn't enjoying modern games. I think there are a lot of modern games that are still cool, especially on the indie side, but he realized that he was playing retro games almost all the time. Those sometimes even like remasters or remakes or the original old video games because he was not enjoying the modern games. I think that's perfectly fine. You should enjoy. You should have your own sense of enjoyment. You don't need to enjoy what the rest of the people are enjoying. In my case, I enjoy many types of video games, all sorts of video games. But that made me think the solution is quite simple. The answer is quite simple. Simply stop playing those games that you are no longer enjoying. Those video games that you feel as if you are going to do some sort of chore or duty when playing them. Like, oh well, I don't enjoy this game, but I'm already halfway through. I have to finish it. So it's all about do not getting into those experiences, and it all depends on your perspective, of course, and your taste. For example, those old school style tabletop, no, old school style video games. You know, the typical like Eye of the Beholder and whatnot, or Wizardry. In some of those styles of games, you actually need to keep track of the map. You need to take some graph paper and start drawing how you're moving through the dungeon and whatnot. Some people will find that very annoying, such a chore, that bookkeeping. But some others, I count myself within that particular um, semiotic domain. We enjoy that experience, not all the time, but so for example, sometimes I want a more streamlined, easier, smoother experience. In other cases, I feel that tension that it all depends on me making an accurate map of my surroundings. Otherwise, you can effectively get lost. And in the case of tabletop RPGs, some people prefer speedy combat. One roll resolves the entire combat. In some cases, only one roll resolves the entire round, but in some others, a single roll resolves the entire combat encounter. So this means that you're going to have many encounters in a single session, but some other people could enjoy a very detailed, long, a highly nuanced combat. So instead of just making a roll to resolve the entire thing, or just a few rolls depending on the system, maybe you want to roll to see if the hit connects, how much damage, if there was some sort of injury inflicted, a chopped off arm, or a bleeding effect, whatnot. Maybe you need to make a roll to see if your character passes out from the pain, or if your character bleeds out, or if you're affected by the shock of the blow, if you're going to slip from because of all the blood on the floor. You need to make some sort of dexterity type of roll so your character doesn't slip and fall down prone because of the blood. Some people love that. I also love that. Like I said, not always, but when I am in the mood, I love that. So I think a lot of people need to take into consideration that both tabletop RPGs and video games, they will have a more enjoyable experience if they consider that there are some players, both on the video games side and the tabletop RPG sides, side, that they complain so much. The answer is simple: don't play those games. If you wish to complain about them, of course you are free to do so. But if you don't want to waste time, that I went to that tabletop RPG session and it was horrible, the combat was so tedious, look for another system. And don't think that tabletop RPGs are all the same. In the case of video games, I hate JRPGs because I played this JRPG and it was awful. There are some JRPGs that are very complex and some others that are very simple. So always keep that open mind so that your enjoyment is always kept alive. It's like keeping that flame burning bright. So these are just a few thoughts that I've been having. I hope they were informative, entertaining, perhaps useful for some. There are some people that are new to the hobby, both on the side of video games and tabletop RPGs. So sometimes it comes as to a bit like a shock to me that, you've never played a video game or you never played a tabletop RPG. Um, Remember that there are different types of tabletop RPGs, different types of video games. Enjoy them. Look for those that provide the experience that you want. Do you want speedy combat? Do you want easy mapping? Do you want? There's always something for you. And like I said, in current times, there are just so many. I can understand why the environment is so competitive because so many great game designers, both on the video game side and the tabletop RPG side, they are producing so many things. It's maddening. It's madness. Sometimes I wish I could be immortal just to be able to play all of those games. Of course, for many other reasons too. But I sometimes say like, I wonder if I'll be able to play all of them. You don't need to play all of them. But even those that you particularly enjoy, sometimes there are so many. Sometimes you want to play hundreds, maybe not thousands, but hundreds still, right? Well, thank you for watching this video. Let me know your thoughts if you have any other insights on this. And Thank you so much for those of you that go the extra mile to support the channel. If anyone else wishes to further support the channel, consider joining as a member using the super thanks button, like, subscribe. Take a look at the information in the description, the pinned comment. This has been your host, Abraham El Jaguar, a professional game master. And remember, in tabletop RPGs, it's not about what you want your characters to do. It's about what your characters are doing. Once again, thank you and see you later.